Isaiah Pola-Mao is officially staying in the silver and black, and maybe Pete Carroll could create another great Samoan safety. And the Raiders are interested in trading for quarterback Matthew Stafford, but at what cost? Yo, what is up, Raider Nation? It's your boy Samoan Raider, back at it again with yet another video. If this is the very first time you guys are coming across this channel and you love Raider content, then hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon button to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this. Excuse me for my voice, man. It was a crazy weekend, barely getting my voice back, but you know, I had to come today and talk about some great news that happened today. First being bringing back my cousin Isaiah Pola-Mao, making it official. Now, news broke out this morning. According to Ian Rappaport, he tweeted out saying that Raiders safety Isaiah Pola-Mao has signed a 2-year extension today worth up to $8.45 million per the insiders. A restricted free agent and nephew of Hall of Famer Troy Pola-Mao, Pola-Mao started in the final 14 games and was named the AFC Defensive Player of the Week in Week 16. Now, for me though, man, this is some really great news. Not only because, you know, this is family and I'm a little bit biased because he's a Nuso, but just the fact that the Raiders are bringing back an up-and-coming young safety who can possibly become the next solid safety for the Raiders for years to come. But looking back on his journey though, Pola-Mao continues to defy the odds. First, signing with the Raiders in 2022 as an undrafted free agent, then spending some time on the practice squad before signing to the active roster in 2023. Then in 2024, playing in 17 games, starting in 14 of them, he's recorded 89 total tackles, 5 pass deflections, 1 sack, and 2 forced fumbles. Now, looking at the money and looking at how much the Raiders paid him, you can definitely see that Pete Carroll values Isaiah Pola-Mao a lot, and he could possibly be the starting safety for the Raiders going into 2025. I know a lot of people might be confused with that, but the Raiders do lock in one of the players on the roster that has a bright future. But knowing Pete Carroll and his track history of coaching a lot of great safeties in the league, he knows a thing or two about making the best in the secondary. You look back at his days over there in USC and even in Seattle, there's been a lot of great safeties that played under him, and one notable guy being Isaiah Pola-Mao's uncle, Troy Pola-Mao. And maybe, just maybe, Pete Carroll could mold him into the next Troy Pola-Mao here in Las Vegas. And if he's able to somewhat even be half of what Troy Pola-Mao is over here in Las Vegas, then hey, we got ourselves a solid safety for the future. I do believe that Isaiah's future here in Las Vegas is really bright, with his best days ahead of him, and knowing that the Raiders brought him back right now can only mean that he's going to be utilized a lot more in 2025. But you know, I don't really feel like this move means that the Raiders are not going to bring back Trayvon Merrick. I know a lot of people might be a little bit worried about that, but I feel like if anything, the Raiders should do everything they can to bring back Trayvon Merrick, as well as pairing him up with Isaiah Pola-Mao, because I think our secondary would be solid. This doesn't mean that we still can't go out and draft another solid safety, a young safety that could possibly compete with these guys. But I feel like having Patrick Graham back over here running the defense, already bringing back Isaiah, and then possibly bringing back Trayvon Merrick, I feel like would be, you know, one of the priorities for the Raiders defense. As far as Marcus Epps, it most likely seems like the Raiders might not bring him back after this signing. But real quick, here's a message from the Oos Isaiah Pola-Mao after signing his extension.
Raider Nation, excited to keep going on this journey with y'all. Love this organization. Raiders!
Now, some other big news. We already know, we've talked about it a lot in the last couple of videos. I mean, shit, almost every week we've been talking about quarterbacks and so many other quarterback options for the Raiders. But just yesterday, it seems like the Raiders could be interested in trading for Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. According to Albert Breer, he broke the news saying that the New York Giants, Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers, and our Las Vegas Raiders have all shown interest in trading for Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford should LA look to move him. On top of that, Vinny B also doubled down on this, with even Tom Brady's influence and possibly bringing in a quarterback like Matthew Stafford, saying something to keep an eye on. Per sources, the persuasiveness of Tom Brady as a recruiter for the Raiders. It will make things interesting during free agency and maybe even in the trade market. It's why you can't rule out Matthew Stafford as an option. Now, I know that the Raiders right now, in the situation that we're in, we're not ready to go and win a Super Bowl. I mean, I could possibly be wrong, but knowing Pete Carroll and, you know, his press conference when he first came out and talked, he wants to win now. He wants to put the best team forward to compete right now. And if the Raiders can compete, then that would be great for us Raider fans, because we'll have something to cheer for. He specifically specifically said, we've got to start right now and go after it and build this team as quickly as we can. So it makes sense why the Raiders would be interested in a quarterback like Matthew Stafford, but at what cost though? Stafford was recently granted permission to speak with other teams to get a feel for his market. And I know that Stafford and the Rams are kind of at a standstill with his contract extension. Right now, Stafford does have 2 years remaining on a 4-year, $160 million deal, which is $40 million per year. And according to Peter Strager of Good Morning Football, he believes that Matthew Stafford could be asking for upwards of $50 million per year.
This is a money issue, and Matthew Stafford wants to be paid what he thinks he's worth. He wants to be paid more than $50 million. There are teams that are willing to pay him more than what the Rams are currently willing to pay him. The question is, does Stafford want to go to those teams? And what are those teams willing to give up?
Bruh, for $50 million, would I still want to get Matthew Stafford?
Hell no, to the no.
Now I know that the salary cap went up over this past couple of weeks and the Raiders have a little bit more money to spend, but I don't know. I still wouldn't want to spend $50+ million on a 37-year-old quarterback. And even though the Raiders could afford that contract, paying Matthew Stafford $50+ million, to me, it's a little bit crazy. Now, I do understand there are people out there saying that, this is the price that you pay for a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, and you're right. But I just don't view Matthew Stafford ahead of guys like Aaron Rodgers right now, especially for the price difference. Now, I know that there are some other people out there that have brought up the fact that, Rich Gannon did lead the Raiders to a Super Bowl at the age of 36. But one thing that people forget to realize is the fact that Rich Gannon stepped into a situation where he was surrounded with nothing but Hall of Famers on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Yes, I know that the Raiders can possibly go out and bring in as many weapons as they can with all the cap space that we do have, and even draft some crazy players that could come in and contribute right away. But who knows if Matthew Stafford would still want to come over here, on top of that, even lead this team into the playoffs going into the Super Bowl. Yes, I do know that Matthew Stafford is a solid option at quarterback, and he could possibly help us compete right away. But even if you put the price tag aside, we still got to think about what the Rams would want in return as far as draft capital. Reports have already come out that the Rams asked for the Giants' number 3 overall pick in exchange for Matthew Stafford. So if that's the price tag, and if they're asking for the Raiders' number 6 overall pick, if we wanted to bring Matthew Stafford over here to Las Vegas, then they're fucking crazy. There ain't no way in hell I would give up the 6th overall pick. On top of that, paying $50+ million for a quarterback that's slowly declining right now, especially with all the injuries that he's been dealing with these past couple of years. I just feel like the best option for the Raiders, I've stated it before and I'm continuing to state it again, is going out and getting a veteran quarterback like Russell Wilson or even Aaron Rodgers at the price that we're able to get them for. I feel like those two quarterbacks can do somewhat of the same as what Matthew Stafford can do, but at a cheaper price. But even if that's not the direction you want to go in and getting a veteran quarterback, an old quarterback that has veteran experience that could possibly be a starting quarterback for this year, next year, maybe 3 years, then hey, you can spend a little bit more money and getting a guy like Justin Fields, who I believe is the best option for the Raiders in free agency if you want to spend some money, even more than Sam Darnold. That is just my thoughts and how I feel about the situation. Let me know your thoughts. What do you guys think? Matthew Stafford to the Raiders, would you guys want to trade him and pay him whatever he wants and hopefully contend in 2025? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Until the next one, this is your boy Small Raider, and your boy is, yeah.